Good evening, guys. It is the petrifying nerd Paltrax, and today we are playing some neutral, just a video, just an opinion piece, should we say? Very unscripted and unstructured, but something that I've actually been trying to, something I have hit, something that I've heard and haven't been discussed here and there in the community for sure about sort of starting areas, right? And how sort of what's the best one to start at? You know, is it Bree? Is it the Shire or is it ered luin, right? And a lot of people genuinely and generally doesn't actually like ered luin very much, right? Because maybe think it's boring or something, I don't know. But to me, I think it's actually one of the better ones, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, I probably do have a massive bias because I do play it because I do main a dwarf. That's what I did, but I do have a hobbit. I have played through the human ones as well, and some of the elf stuff. So I'm not completely sort of blind in the other paths for sure. But I would definitely say for sure that if you are a obviously if you're a veteran player or you probably already have several alts at this point, you probably have a general preference, right? Because you know all of it anyway. But even at that point, I actually still prefer to go through Eredluin. I actually still do. You know, shocker. Because for a few reasons. Now let's start with the if you're a new player. This is your first guy. You choose to play a dwarf. Right? You could have played a hobbit or whatever. That's fine. And you would start ish here, I think, right? And you do some back in time stuff, and then you at the end of it all, you will start here at Fern's Court, and you'll do some small stuff here and there. There's the main hub for the dwarves, and then you will eventually go to your first sort of hub after this. And you will essentially just keep doing this, this, and then after this, you most likely you might do some stuff here as well. But yeah, I guess this is your probably will you be your last sort of hub before you move on to Bree. If you go down here, you will obviously end up in the Shire. So as we get yeah, now it's Yonder Shire. So might be some variation there, but yeah, that's kind of nice. Now, then of course you will get um, your note, right? That it will deliver to the guy in Bree, right? Which you can of course just go use the long way if you don't want to spend the gold or the silver, you know, or you can just ride all the way, which can be good for like exploration or maybe you actually want to finish some of the deeds for local points and such. That's totally fair. But again, as a new player, this is like this is very I would say more modern, really, because yes, you start from top and you just go south, you know, until you end up when the game just tells you, hey, change zones. Uh, yeah. Um, Contra versus like, this is the Shire. I have a Hobbit, right? Not particularly high level, but you would start, I think, in Mickle Delving, and then you gotta go here, and then you go down, and then you go this. But there's not as clear of a path. So like, oh, you go this, and then you go that. But there's done this, and then you might go here, and then you might go there, and then it's all like it's a bit more messy, a bit more sort of sporadic. But of course, if you like that, and that's probably more sort of off the time when Lotre was made. But even if you play WoW today, you can sort of see the sort of the same general, I don't know, your same general path. It's all like a straight line. It's like, hey, go to the next hub, and it's usually like right next to it. It's not like up, down, back, forth, up, sideways to on the, yeah. Yeah. Also, I think that the quests yeah, also the same. Actually, I'm doing this live if you haven't noticed as well. Boom, boom. Especially if you play a human, right? you will of course start here at Archjet. This is just your newbie area, and then you'll just keep going to Comb, sort of is here-ish, and then like, but as a zone, Breland will get you quite far. But like, it's only you have to ignore like half the map, but you can if you're maybe unlucky or you just didn't know, right? You can just wander into like here where you will find enemies that are much higher, like the Barrow Downs, you know. Like it's very like if you are say a new player, you don't really know sort of all the best spots. You can just wander into an area and get absolutely murdered. Whereas, which is why I think that uh, ered luin as a zone is probably one of the better ones because it is sort of like, especially as your first character, you know. And I'm sure some of this might be just mostly a subjective thing, but I do think it's because of preference and maybe because I do like the sort of dwarven aesthetics as well. Those snowy mountains, I actually kind of like that. So that's sort of that's that. Dead my ass. Yeah. So that's that. Really. Obviously, I know I've seen people in sort of the Lotru community sort of make this all yeah no, come on like ered luin is boring. Ered luin is bad because it's sort of dreary and like the theme and maybe the music isn't really. But like I have a hobbit that's my alt, and as fun as it is to deliver mail and sort of round up all the bad pies and stuff, that's cool. But it can be a bit sort of like so you don't really see too much of that stuff anywhere else outside of the Shire. And so like that's another thing where the dwarf sort of area is a lot more straightforward. It's the end. You start with there, you fight the enemies that will be around your level, and then you'll just head down to the next hub, do all that stuff, and then continue on to the next one. So it's not, again, it might be simple, it might be maybe a bit basic, and I'm sure like if you've done it once, you probably maybe you don't want to do it like 5 more times. But like, not everyone are alcoholics, right? Some are, sure, certainly. I know a few. Like I'm not gonna. But yeah, some like for your first character, let me just recommend ered luin. You'll get an easy sort of entry onto how quests and monsters and content in general kind of works in early game for Lotro. And yeah, so of course if you make a elf, right, you will start I think here or yeah here, and then you do sort of stuff there. You move to the next one, you do stuff there. Maybe you do this one, and then you move on. Maybe. Oh, this is sort of the housing area, so don't just ignore that stuff if you don't want to. Yeah. The Yonder Shire is sort of a new zone. It wasn't always there. I think that's like a level 20 something area, maybe. I'm not entirely sure actually. I will do it with my Hobbit. This is what I want to do with my Hobbit because I want to play that character as that character. But I am not a new player, so my needs, my desires might not be exactly what everyone else feels. But that's kind of my thing. You know, might not be super interesting, might not be super advanced, but it's a lot more streamlined. It's just, and it will in some way feel a bit more what you're used to, my a bit more modern MMO. So if you agree, if you disagree, that's fine. I just want to give you my 2 cents. So yeah, that's that. See you guys later.